Hey everybody, welcome to Making
Hello, hello, hello.
Connections. I hope everybody is having an amazing day. Y'all see these two handsome gentlemen with me today. I'm excited. Lord, I'm just saying, y'all get ready for this roller coaster ride. But Jeffrey and Vaughn Ramon, how are you doing today?
I'm good. I can't complain. I cannot complain at all.
How about you,
It's
Jeffrey?
Monday, but it's a good day.
That part. Well, I'm excited for y'all being on the show. I know you guys have been on for separate, different reasons and stuff like that, but it's going to be exciting being with you today, all of us together.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So
I'm ready.
listen, we're talking about all kinds of things today. We're talking about faith, we're talking about friendship, we're talking about a good support system, all those good things, right? Because we know that it's the Thanksgiving season, but what I like to try to remind everybody is to be thankful every day. Try to find something every day to have gratitude and be thankful about, right?
Right.
That's right.
Absolutely.
So, Chobani. First of all, tell us what that's about. Did I say it wrong?
No, it's right. Chobani Ramon. So Ramon is my middle name. So I love the Ramon, but it pretty much came from the idea of me, getting into lapel pins and having a love for lapel pins. So I kind of wanted to branch beyond lapel pins, and kind of give a message more than just lapel pins, and kind of like tap into that love and desire for like fashion and helping people step outside the box of like their typical dress. So I just kind of was like researching words, and then one day while jogging, like Swahili like came to mind. I'm like, let me go to the Swahili dictionary and look up different words. And so I was like, since it deals with trying to get people to embrace the unique side of them when it comes to like clothing and patterns and color, I was like, hey, that's like a closet. So I looked up the word for closet, and it was Chobani. And I was like, oh, that has a ring, Chobani Ramon. So I just like grabbed a hold to it and just kept it. So that's my so I kind of use it as, I've been using it like lately as like an umbrella for more like not even like fashion, but even like dealing with on like a couple like round table talks and stuff like that. I like to use like Chobani Ramon because I kind of want to like get that name Chobani Ramon, and then born as Vaughn Ramon, but Chobani,
Look at
a
how you
little
smile
something.
when you talking about it, Jeffrey.
I love it. I'm just sitting here saying, listen, I need to sign up for these services.
Listen, listen, I do it. I would do it.
And Will, honey, we already get his services sometimes.
Exactly.
So we're
You
very appreciative of that. But Jeffrey, like I did with Vaughn, I like to give everybody opportunity to just tell a little bit about themselves so the audience, maybe somebody who doesn't know you yet, know a little bit before we jump into the meat of things.
somebody who doesn't know me. Oh wow.
True, you got a point there.
But I am Jeffrey Thomas. I don't have a Swahili name. That's Bond's thing. He works that. That is very Americanized. But I am living in New York. I'm a North Carolina transplant. Originally from North Carolina, former high school teacher, um, author, nurse, all of that good stuff, former pastor, still work in ministry, just in a different vein. And I'm just a New Yorker now, living life, loving life.
Listen, I text y'all the other day. I'm so gonna miss the holiday season in New York this year. I didn't plan
Listen,
it
Isn't it beautiful?
we are too.
right. Okay, okay. Yeah, but y'all get to see it before you leave.
Yeah.
Y'all done.
Yeah, and that's kind of one of the reasons like I came back in between contracts here, just because I hate the winter, but I
Mm-hmm.
love the energy around Christmas, like in New York. Like it
Mhm.
just gets so big. Like the lights are big. Like the Christmas trees are big. Like the energy is big. Like it's like it just gets you in the mood. So
Yeah, because everybody's there and everybody's excited. Now they run over you. Then that's the people that's coming to tour. It ain't even the New Yorkers. but there is an excitement in the air.
Yeah, and there's so much to see. Like every borough, every little neighborhood has its own things. Like some people do the Christmas tree, but Harlem has its stuff, downtown Harlem and all of that good stuff. So it's a lot to see. It's a lot to take in.
I've been telling people, if you have never been to New York, or some people come like for a weekend for an event or something, but if you've
Yeah.
never taken some time to be in the city and to see everything that it offers, and look, I'm talking about Edgar because y'all know he thought that first time he came, he's gonna see the whole state of New York.
Yeah. Yeah. He tried too. He tried.
He gave it his all,
He tried. He
but it's
definitely
but it's still so much we're missing.
yeah.
So listen, what are y'all doing for Thanksgiving then? Y'all coming
Well,
down to the
I was going
Carolinas?
home, but traveling is expensive. Like flights are crazy expensive. Like I mean, $800-900 for a flight.
Right.
So I kind of decided to hang out in New York and kind of like focus on some personal things and regroup and that kind of stuff.
Yes. What about you, Jafari?
Well, I'm not going home to North Carolina. I'm staying home in New York. Probably around 4 years ago, I started hosting Thanksgiving dinner just because I didn't want to travel back and forth Thanksgiving and then Christmas right around the corner. So I have not done that because I've been traveling. The last few years, I've been on travel contracts. So this year is kind of like the revival of my Thanksgiving dinner. So I'm excited about that. I've been
Oh,
prepping all week. Revive us again.
here we go. What?
I'm excited about it. It's usually a good time. When the first year I did it, I didn't realize that there were so many people who are in New York who don't go home, who don't have family here.
Mhm.
And they just kind of like drifted to my house, and it worked. It worked.
Mhm. And I've
Yeah.
seen the pictures. Sometimes it'd be this one over here after they ate in the corner sleep. This one over here, supposed to be watching movies and stuff. They be knocked out, y'all.
It's a shift. Everybody, we have about three shifts that come through. Eat, sleep,
Eat
go, eat, sleep,
right.
go.
Yeah, because some people, come by before they go to work and all that stuff, but when they just getting off work, because we know that people still work on the holidays, and so that's one of the things, just talking about, everybody's dynamic is different for the holidays, and sometimes I think about the people who maybe don't have a family to go home to, or they're in a different season, because Vaughn, we're not really going to talk too much, but there's been shifts in the family. There might be grief and things going on, and so it's
Right.
just different. And so, I want everybody though to be able to find the joy in just living, right? Because we've all
Right.
had somebody go on that's not at our family table this year. But Jeffrey, I'm gonna let you start about that. How did you find the joy beyond, when that shift came for you and your family?
Oh wow. So I guess just to put it out there, my grandmother passed away about 5 years ago. And she was really big on the holiday season. Like every holiday, every meeting that we had was at her home, her cooking, her way. And you get accustomed to that, and you don't want that to change. But of course, the way life works, that does end up happening. And for me, it was hard. Like even bringing our family together as a whole. My grandmother could do that without any issue. Everybody knew that Nana's house was the safe space. It was the place you could come and hang out, the place that if you needed somewhere to stay, you could stay. If you needed good advice, whether you wanted it or not, you could get it there. So that challenge for us was, or for me personally, it was devastating. But it also was the catalyst behind me hosting things like Thanksgiving dinner, or when I go home cooking and saying, "Hey guys, come to my mom's house. I cook." Da 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 da. Those were outlets that became part of the healing process for me to kind of take on that responsibility or that mantle that she left. That even if we're not at her house, that my presence could become a safe space for
Mhm.
those people, not just family, but even the people that we were talking about here in New York who don't have family here. So that's kind of been my journey. It's still rough those days, especially when I get ready to cook. I kind of have to coax myself into it
Mhm.
because I think about most of my time with my nana was in the kitchen, even if we weren't cooking, sitting at the kitchen table, doing something, talking about something. So a lot of what I remember of her is centered around that area. So I have to get my mind in a space to be able to do it so everything tastes good.
But it is funny because like people be like, "Did you make Nana's?" Because you developed some of her recipes, and so people like,
Yeah.
"Did you make Nana's biscuits this year? Did you make that sweet potato pie?" Da 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 da. So that's cool too because the family's still reaching out, and y'all still got Nana, very present in the celebration.
Yeah, and we all like my cousins who really like cook. We all have a specific. I think I have about 5 or 6 recipes, but everybody has their own specific thing. Like I have a cousin who makes my grandmother's pound cakes, and she can do it like like no other. So I don't even try to do that. I just let her have that.
Yeah. So what about you, Vaughn? I know this is very new for you, so you talk as much or as little as you want to, but there's somebody out there who's feeling this hurt and this grief and whether it's death or it's just a separation, family that's been together, friends who've been together, and now they find themselves in a different space. How do you encourage yourself to keep going?
Yeah, I mean, and it's definitely it's gonna be different. And I think more so for me, even um sharing, even like sharing with one of my cousins, even like doing my grandmother's doing the service, we were talking about it, and I was telling him, I think for me, one of the things for me was I don't know that I completely healed from like the passing of my dad's mother. And so I
Mhm.
think for me, it's kind of like, she passed away and he was like, oh, my grandmother passed away, but you find that comfort in knowing that you have another grandmother. And so, she has always been like that comforting person. She has always been that person to take care of everybody else. So even when my dad mom passed away, it was kind of like that thing that the way that she loves you and nurtures you is like, okay, it's okay. Like, I got this. We good. But then, and being that she was probably like, I mean, she was probably like the oldest living person in our like community. So like
Mhm.
everybody knew her. Like she was the grandma of the community. And so when she passed away, it was one of those things like, wow, like this really happened. Like I really don't have a grandmother. Like I really don't can't call and say grandma. As in before, I knew I couldn't call my dad's mom, but I can call her, and it's like everything is okay. And so,
Right.
even though, like you have your mom, have like my aunties, my cousins, there's nothing like a grandmother's love. Like there's nothing like hearing her voice. It's just the way that she say things. And just like the other day I posted, like it was just one of those days where I just wish that I could just be on the phone with her and get ready to hang up the phone with her. Because when you get ready to hang up the phone with her, she would be like, all right, Bubba, all right, take care. Talk to you later. And that's gonna go on for about at least 2 to 5 minutes before she actually hangs up the phone. So it was like
Right.
that. It's like that. I don't really want to let go. And then you're like, all right, grandma, all right, talk to you later. She's like, oh, okay. And you kind of wait for her to hang up the phone, but she would never hang up. It's like she always waited for you to end the call. So it's definitely going to be different. And like Jeffrey said, like my grandmother was like really big on family. She was really big on eating. Like I don't care if my mom is the same way. My mom is big on cooking. She's big on like a big feast. So like my mom is gonna cook, and my mom would be like, tell my grandmother like, hey, we doing Thanksgiving at my house. come over for Thanksgiving. But before my grandmama leave to go to my mom and them house, you can best believe that there's a spread at her house. Because her thing was, I need to come back home in case I want to have me a little piece of something to eat later. I need to have something in my house. So like she would, and it will
Right.
always be like we leave my mom's house, and everybody will eventually migrate to my grandmother's house because, like Jeffrey said, like everybody knew that that was the safe place. And so you would
Right.
go there, even though you stuffed from eating at the previous place, you come there and there's something that she cooked. And he's like, I just want a little piece, or I just want a little bit. And then you just lay around your stuff. Like one room is just people watching football or basketball. Another room is just people chit chatting. And so it's just like every room there's like a different environment. There's a different, thing going on. There's the game, there's just talk, there's the kids over here, there's the kids outside. So it's definitely going to be different. But even now, so in the acute phase of, like grieving, that loss. And I always say trying to appropriately heal and grieve from the loss of both of my grandmothers. I think that one of the things that has really kept me, one, like my mom and my dad, even outside of being like spiritual support, they're very like, we understand that there's life outside of church. Like we understand that there's life outside of saying, like, just pray about it. I understand we're going to pray about it,
Right.
but what can we do in the physical to help you heal? Like, what can we do as a family to help each other heal? We're gonna pray about it. Like that's good. But in the meantime, while we praying and we waiting for God to, intervene, what can we do as a family to help each other heal? So that's been very comforting on that side. And it also just helped to know that with the both of them, like they lived a life so that when their life came to an end, yes, we grieve for them leaving, but we're able to celebrate all the things that they've done for family, like all of the love that they instilled in the family. And my cousin AC, when he was speaking at my grandmother's funeral, he said something that just like it just stuck with me. And he talked about how she didn't always say, and that's another thing, like even when you hang up the phone with her, she didn't always say, I love you. Like, she would say something like, her brother would always say love. So she might hang up the phone and be like, love, and that's it. But and like AC was saying, she didn't always say, I love you. And even if you say to her, I love you, she may not respond, I love you. And she didn't have to say it because
Right.
she lived a life where she showed it. And so she showed that she loved. There was never, I don't think any of us can doubt the fact that she loved us. Because, like you said, even if she didn't say it all the time, she showed it every day, 365 days of the year. She showed that she loved you. And if she didn't have,
Right.
she'll tell you, listen, Bubba, I ain't got no change, my little fixed income. But, she would call and like, hey,
Come
them
get a
boys
piece
over
of
there,
this pie.
right? Them boys over there, and my mom be like, "Yeah, they over here." Da, 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 da. And within like an hour, she'll call back. You tell them boys come over here. I got little biscuits over here, and I got some stuff on the stove. My mom would be like, "Mom, you ain't gotta cook for them boys." She'd be like, "No, no, let me do what I can." But that was her way of showing love. So
Yeah.
it's going to be difficult for us, but one thing that I find comforting is knowing that there's we have a connection. And even like with my cousins, like we have a connection where we're pretty close and we can lean on each other and we can depend on each other. So that makes grieving a whole lot easier. And even going into that phase where you're talking about having a good support system, family, friends, like I said, like during the time that I lost my grandmother, like I don't have to doubt the care or doubt the heart that like the friends that I share intimate space with. Because literally like every day that I was home, I believe like every day there was a flower sent. If it wasn't sent for me, it was sent to like my mom and my dad. And even if there wasn't a flower sent, like I mean, I had like a friend to like give me a card, to like give me money. I want to make sure that you have gas. I want to make sure that you have food. I want to make sure that you get home, and you get settled, like you're okay. I mean, I had like a few people to like send me money and was like, hey, take your mom and dad to lunch and dinner for us. Like
Hmm.
love on your mom and dad for us. And so that showed me that even outside of family, it's important to have like a strong friend base. It's important to have, support outside of family, because sometimes family just don't understand. And sometimes family don't understand what you go through on a daily basis. They don't understand the ins and outs of your life outside of home. And so you have those people that become your family outside of home that understands the ins and outs of
Mhm.
life that your family may not understand. And so when it comes to grieving, when it comes to healing, when it comes to just being a support, they're able to support and they're able to speak to areas of your life that your family can't speak to. And even
Right.
areas of life that not that your family can't speak to, but areas of your life that you will receive better from a friend than you will receive from a parent or a sibling. So
Yeah,
yeah,
because
it's. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
no, no, no. Because I was gonna say sometimes your parents they always looking out for you. They want the best for you and everything like that. And so I found a lot of times they try to tell you stuff to keep you safe or whatever. But we are grown, and sometimes we have to experience some things. And so having those friends that can be there and be like, your parents are just looking out for you, helping you understand where they're coming from, but still
Right.
helping you navigate where you're trying to get to. So,
Right.
Jeffrey, what do you think about all the things we've covered, the support system
I
and
mean,
friends?
I'm just sitting here listening, but one of the things that really jumped out for me was, we started the conversation just talking about what that healing process looked like. And me and Vaughn share similar stories of, growing up in the South and, the grandmother portion. And for me, that major piece of healing was understanding that I may not be able to do it like someone else can, but I can love you in the way that I can, or I can show you love. And that's in relationship on all levels, right? Not just family relationships, but friendships, work relationships. A lot of times we compare what we're able to bring to the table or give to the table with other people. And what we bring to the table may not look as extravagant, but it's just as important. It's a
Right.
connection, it's a piece and a point of connecting with other people. So that's what really jumped out at me. And I think for me over the past few years is like learning that, maturing into that. And I'm still learning that, that what I have to give is enough in whatever relationship it is. It is enough. Whatever I have to give, that's enough.
Right, right. And like you're saying, you and Vaughn really do have a lot of same dynamics, with the closeness of your grandmothers and then siblings and then the work that you do and stuff like that. And so, but it is a process because both of you have transitioned from the South all the way up north in a whole different kind of atmosphere, different things going on. And what did they say? If you can make it there, you can make it anywhere. And honey, I believe that because New York is a whole different space.
Absolutely.
Listen, I'm like, they were like, move. I was like, move where? How come visit?
Yeah.
And just being here like speaks to some level of resilience, right? Like
Mhm.
sometimes I just feel like, Lord, I'm like the least on the totem pole. I'm late. I have so much that I still want to do. But then I look around and I'm like, I'm in a city with all of these resources, with so much going on, so many demands. So just being able to navigate that on a day-to-day basis, like it really speaks to resilience. And then like on days like today, when it's 27 degrees and you want to like lay in the bed under the covers, you like, nah, I can't do that. I live
Right.
in New York. I gotta get up. Nothing stops because of weather.
Listen, and down here, we just got like 7 minutes to go to work. Y'all got 10, 15 minutes to get to the subway.
Commutes.
Walking in the snow and the rain and stuff. And I'd be like, oh, bless them going to work today.
Yeah.
Listen, I'm not even gonna lie. I miss those North Carolina days when you get a half an inch of snow and you
And
at least get
everything.
a 3 hour delay or a
Everything
day.
shut down.
Yes. Don't
But
nobody
now,
got no bread or no milk. Y'all just be like, it's snowing, whatever. We going to the same places we went when it wasn't snowing.
when it wasn't snowing, right?
Y'all be doing it. I love it. I love it. But I don't know. There's so many questions I have, but even that atmosphere, even making that change, like it's scary to just move. You don't really know anybody. You might know a couple people, but I mean, I'm talking about a major move. What was that really prompted you, Vaughn, to like just go ahead and take that step? I'm gonna try it. You know,
You know what? And to be honest, during that time, I was really in a limbo with life. Like really just I really didn't know what I want to do in life, but I knew that on the surface I appeared happy, but I knew inside I wasn't happy. And I just
Mm,
wasn't in a happy place. Like, work was good, I was traveling. I was like, traveling to different places, it was great. But I just didn't find that like like something was missing. And it's like, how like people say like people are millionaires, they have all this money, but they still don't have happiness. I wasn't a millionaire, I didn't have a whole lot of money, but I knew I had like strong family, strong friends. But on a personal level, I was still unhappy. Like there was just something missing. And it was in, I think it was 2006, 2016, I'm sorry. 2016, I was like, you know what? I'm gonna take a little birthday excursion. I'm gonna go to DC for a few days. I'm gonna go to New York for a few days. Da da da. So I went to DC. I left Charlotte. I went to DC. I was in DC for like 2 days with my best friend in DC. I left. I'll never forget it. I did an Airbnb in Harlem on 142nd between Lenox and Adam Clayton Pound, and um, I came in
I
on
know that
that.
place.
I think it was like that Tuesday or Wednesday. I got here that night, checked into the Airbnb, and I was there, and I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna get lost in the city, and I'm just gonna, get lost. And so I got up, like I found a Dunkin' Donut on the corner. I'm like, oh, this is where I'm gonna get my coffee. Then I found this like place. I think it's called like Mama Manas or whatever. It's like
yeah, man. It's,
a place where you can like get food. They have like kind of like soul food. I was like, oh, that's where I'm gonna have dinner. So I did that, and then one of my really good friends, Courtney was here, which I had met Courtney back in college, like undergrad. So I came and we kind of connected while I was here, and I was here a few days just by myself, and I would just get on the train. I would get lost. I would just go wherever I land. I would like make myself figure out how to get back to where I was. And then in that same week, my best friend Craig came up, Nicholas came up, Jeffrey was here, and then I had Courtney and Rob here. And so we all hung out that weekend.
we
And when
all.
I left, it was just, and I'll never forget it because, I always try to find the significance in things. And
Mm,
so the apartment that we stayed in, the Airbnb that I rented was on the third floor. It was apartment 3B. And then the train that I had to take, pretty much everywhere, was a 2 out of 2 train. So I'm like, yo, there has to be, and then my birthday is the third. And so
Right.
I'm like, there has to be a significant, like, there has to be a reason that all these things were lining up. Like I'm doing the Airbnb on the third floor. I'm in the apartment that's 3B. The train that I have to take is the 3 train. So my birthday is the third. Like I'm here for my birthday. So it was like I was just like, this may be the place for me. And so I went back. Still traveled, did those things. 2018, I took the contract here. 2018, and was just like, oh, okay, was in Long Island City, and I was just like, like real talk, I was like, there's not enough culture here for me. Like, I mean, I need a little more, I need to see a little hood, and
Yeah.
I need to, I need to, I need a barbershop that I can go
something to
to.
look
Like, I
at.
need to find a beauty supply store that I can buy hair oil and that type of stuff. And it wasn't happening for me in
Right.
Long Island City. And I was like,
Right.
baby, this is not it. So, I kind of migrated back to, the Harlem side because Jeffrey was staying in Harlem at the time. So I would come and like hang out on the weekends. And, in Harlem, I'm like, yeah, Harlem, this is it. I found my barber. I found this. I'm like, oh, yeah, this is like the area for me. I found the brunch spots. This is the area for me. But still, I was still like go back home. I would still travel. Like went to Baltimore, even went back home to like Dillon, and it's just like even in that process, it was just like Harlem and New York City as a whole, it it like it
Oh,
just
God.
shook. Like it caused me to like wake up and realize that like, there's more to life than just the little area that you know. And
Mm,
even the other day, a Facebook friend posted on his Facebook page, he was like, I love home and home is home, but I just don't know. And what I said to him was, I love home. Home will always be home. I will always go back home. But the thing is, what I learned was home was not the place for me to mature into the person that I'm maturing into. So like
Mhm.
home
right,
it will always be home. I can always go back home. Home is like that's the foundation. I go back home because I need that energy at home to reset, to remind me of who I am and what you came from and the support that you have. But the
right,
growth that I'm experiencing in this season in my life as an individual, it's not home isn't the place for me to grow.
right.
And so even like just like in New York, like I mean, I think that New York like has caused me to open my mind to growth, but
Mm,
still there are like other places that I feel like I need to visit before I can grow. And I'm gonna stop talking so much because I can talk all day. But even back to something Jeffrey said when I came back and they had, we had a little taco night, not the little taco night because it was a big taco night. The taco night that they had when I came back, uh, and I don't even know if he realized the significance of what he said. I think, Ali, I think you and I talked about this, but he had a plant and the plant had died. And so
Mhm.
he was saying that in his prayer time, you know, it was like God spoke to him about this plant. He moved the plant from one space in the house to another part of the house. And when he moved it to that new place in the house, the
right,
plant started growing. And he
right,
was saying, basically, the moral of the story was he was saying, y'all, pretty much the Lord told me, if you would reposition yourself,
right,
what seemed to be dead, I can
right,
allow to grow again. And so I even said, and I think that God, He puts us in places, and I said, sometimes He puts us in unknown and uncomfortable places because He needs us to become familiar with us. Not familiar with the people around us, not familiar with the situation that we're in, but He needs us to become familiar with who we are. And in order for us to focus on who we are, sometimes He has to put us in a place that we don't know what's going on or those around us because it causes us to focus on the individual. And I'm like, yo, that was so profound. And then I started thinking about it, was like, yeah. And then I joked about like, yeah, but that plant is sitting on that on that radiator.
He
And you
talks
know,
about where I moved my plant to, y'all. That's all I'm saying. He talks about
so I'm like, that plant is sitting on the radiator. And you do know if you don't move that if you don't move that plant off the radiator, the winter is coming. And they're gonna blast this project heat and that plant gonna be dead again.
it.
And so like
Hmm.
I joked about it, but then I started thinking about it. I'm like, that's even profound because sometimes God move us to a different place to grow, but that place is not our permanent home.
Right,
It's not the
Right.
permanent place because that environment is going to change. That environment is going to become too hot. That environment may become too watery. That environment may become, too much for you to grow. So now I need to move you from that place to a new place.
right.
And
Right.
so that's
And
what like go ahead.
no, no, I was just gonna say like that. Just as you're talking, I'm thinking about how pivotal that birthday weekend, your birthday weekend in New York was for I think our entire group and everybody. Because I was already in New York and Brooklyn, but after that weekend, I literally moved 2 blocks from where the Airbnb was, and a studio apartment right there on 141. And then, later on, me and Vaughn became roommates, but we still stayed in that vicinity. And that became our sense of community. And just became like the place that we needed to be in that season, and we still today live in that same vicinity. He's down the street, I'm up the street, but we're in that same vicinity. And I think sometimes we forget that some movement, some placement is just seasonal. even in relationships, even with, jobs and all of that stuff, you really have to know when it's your time to stay. But even most importantly, you have to know when it's your time to go. And if leaving a place of familiarity moves you into, because moving to New York was probably the scariest thing that I've ever done in my life. But then I think the Lord just purposely worked it out to where He created a sense of community around me, and
Mm,
friends, church, family, friends who are out of town but travel, who love to come to New York. So it's like monthly, weekly. When I need it, there's somebody always traveling here or somebody to connect with, who fills whatever void that I think I have. And those things are so needed, so needed. Because even being here 6 years, I'm still learning to navigate life. And that can be a challenge in and of itself, whether you're in New York, Texas, or Timbuktu. That can be a challenge just navigating life. But several things that Vaughn said, like that weekend was so pivotal. It's just crazy how a lot changed after that weekend, especially being here in New York.
yeah. And I think that is, something that comes to mind often when, you know, what I know Alan was joking before we was talking about being here and there, but that story always is wherever you are, you take yourself with you. So, you might be going somewhere to escape a situation, but sometimes it's you that you have to deal with.
Yeah.
And so I've seen both of you grow so much and just become so independent and just satisfied in life. And, and neither one of you is a quitter. I mean, it doesn't matter how hard it might look from people on the outside. And I'm across the seat. Rick may feel over here.
That's our other brother, everybody. That's the baby boy.
Listen, Rick, I'm sorry. I'm going to have you on next time.
That's the baby boy. Oh, my sister's here
Right,
too.
right. Rick's wife, no, no,
Game's all here.
no, that's the sister. That's sister.
Yeah,
Sorry,
that's
Lawanda.
LaWanda. Yeah.
I got to get it straight. But, the thing is, it is, you have to stretch. But I think what y'all are talking about is that community still, that
Mhm.
group of people that you can rely on. Because we know there are people who come in our life for seasons, for reasons, whatever. But there's always a core group that, they just accept you for where you are, whatever's going in your life. They're there to, whether we listen to them or not, because I don't always listen to y'all, but but
Likewise. Likewise.
I
But we
said I
don't
didn't want
always
to talk
listen
about
to each
y'all, but
other.
I was trying to take it on myself. But yeah, we don't listen to each other all the time, not
Mm-mm.
immediately, but it's something so important. And I mean, even you guys leaving and going to New York and just being resolute. No, I'm not coming back. I'll be like, oh man, now I thought y'all was coming back. I was all right for a minute because I thought y'all was coming back. But I'm gonna talk about myself because I really did go through a grief season because I was like,
Mm.
Well, don't
what
give
is
up
this?
on that.
No, but I'm just saying. But even for me, I had to do some growth because
Yeah.
I was used to seeing y'all, talking to y'all, going to dinner whenever, And so sometimes y'all be making dinner. I'll be like, I'll be down here. I'm low key mad because I'm like, who's over there having dinner? I mean, why can't I? But it's just part of life, right? But I did go through a season where I was just like, man, I'm grieving. My friends, they out there living their life, they're having a good time. But even in watching you all grow, it helped me to grow. It helped me to become stronger. Let me know, I mean, but it's just another. Look, you can go visit anytime. You got somewhere to go. They still there.
Mhm.
So you
Mhm.
Right.
again, you have to find that value because the friendship, the strength, the support system is still there. It's just in a different location, but it's
But you
not
know what?
broken.
I think too, the major part of that is showing the importance of being or becoming a whole you, so
Hmm.
that you can bring a better part into whatever
Right.
that relationship or friendship is. Because I think we all went through that, redefining that stuff, because I'm like that with you guys now, because I'll see Alicia will be traveling and doing it, and I'm like, who she with? And then Vaughn, he has a different set of friends here, and I'm like, well, where they going? And I had to come to grips with the fact that, okay, you're not going to be at every event, and that's okay, and that does not change your friendship. It does not change
Right.
your relationship. You
Right.
are not invited everywhere. It is okay. People need
Yeah.
a break from you too.
And
you know,
sometimes it's just different, schedules and stuff, and it's just like, well, I can't go, but you can't expect them to sit and wait on the time that you can go.
right?
But the thing is, you always come back to that. I know that I belong.
Yeah,
I
Right.
know this is my crew. Go ahead.
And I think that and I think it also goes back to where we talk about like that support. And what I was saying was sometimes friends can speak to a place in your life that family can't speak to.
mm-hmm.
And it goes back to friends. I mean, like even when it goes to talking about friends, when we did that cruise and I invited like all of my best friends, and this was like the first time that all the guys that I call like my best friend was the first time that we all would be in one setting.
Mm,
And I mean, honestly, like I even told my sister, I was like, I don't know how this is gonna work. Cause like each one of these are like we are five totally different personalities. And
truly.
Completely
each
different.
and like even with them having all of these different friends, each of them speak to me in a different way.
Right.
They're able to communicate with me in a different way. Like there are like things that I would reach out to like Nicholas about that I probably wouldn't say anything to Jeffrey. There are things that I would have conversation with Jeffrey about that I may not have with Craig. Like there are things that me and Travis will talk about that I may not talk to anyone else. But that's because the personalities of each of them are different.
Mm-hmm.
And so whenever you are growing and like even like reading this Rick Ross book Boss Up, like this is probably like the third time that I'm reading it for the third time, and now I'm like really going through and like stopping and highlighting stuff that, but in the book like he talks about just bossing up, like your environment, like just your mentation, your mindset, your friends, your family. And if you're in a circle, even if it come to family, and they don't push you to be better or do something different, then you probably in the wrong circle. Like
Hmm.
you can't be the only one in the circle that's trying to achieve. Where
Right.
you're looking for more. Yeah, I am here in my career, but by next year I want to be this in my career. And that's one of the good things I like about even like with the crew in New York. I always like to say the brothers. So like we get up, and then one of my friends is like, "Yo, when did y'all get up last?" And I started thinking about it. I was like, "God, it's been a while." I'm like, Jeffrey is in
Mm-hmm.
school, so he's either caught up in work. I'm like Anthony in school, so it's like working school with him. Courtney in school, it's like working school with Courtney. Rob was in school, so it's like working school with Rob. Brandon doing, he's like pursuing like that dream, and he's like on the road and like doing interviews and like on red carpets and
Brand
stuff like
builder.
that. And so I'm like, dang, I'm like, we really haven't gotten together and hung out the way that we used to
Mm-hmm.
hang out. But it's not because we lost connection with each other or not because we lost love for each other, but it's because each of us have decided to improve life or improve our career or improve better ourselves. And sometimes bettering yourself means separating yourself even from the people that support you.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm just like, wow. Like I said, the other day I'm just thinking about it, like, dang. And like I'll text like each of them, and sometimes like I'll text, like the other day I text Brandon, was like, hey, just checking on you. He was like, yeah, I'm good. You good? What you up to? Blah blah blah. And I'm just like, work, school, this, that. And he's like, yeah, 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 yeah. And I'm just like, yo, we gotta get up. We gotta get up. But it's like every time we try to get up, it's just like, oh, I got schoolwork. I'm working on this. Or yo, I'm gonna be out of town. I'm going to do
Right.
so and so and so. And it's just like, it's amazing that you can be connected with people that even when you sit back and think about it and you just look at their progress, it makes
Right.
you be like, I got some dope friends. You know what?
But
Right.
you know
That
what?
ain't nobody. Go ahead.
Thinking about that, I was just gonna say, it's crazy that when you look back too and you realize that some of the stuff that we talked about around brunch and around the dinner table is like now being manifest. That's
Yeah.
one of the things that my therapist was talking about 2 weeks ago, just measurable outcomes and being able to see like just how far you've come and celebrating that the fact that this was a dream, the business was a dream, but now there are steps to making it a reality. And those moments are, I think, the dopest moments. Like even looking at Vaughn's name, because I remember when we were talking in brunch those times, me, and the other guys, just about, hey, y'all, what do y'all think about this? I'm thinking about starting my own business. I'm thinking about, this. And even Aly, those times thinking about the radio show. And here we are today sitting on this show. Like, those are dope moments. Those are amazing moments. And moments that need to be celebrated.
Right. And I
Yeah.
think, and even when we fail to celebrate ourselves or we fail to celebrate the people in our circle, there's always someone to remind you that you're worth being celebrated. And even
Hmm.
like me and my sister, like really, 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 really close. Like we talk like every day close. And even one day she said to me, there was, a concept that I had like put together. And I was getting good feedback from it, blah 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 blah. But there's also like a stylist that I follow closely because I just love, I love their ability to like take clothes and shoes and bring life to it. And
Yeah.
so one day, they actually styled someone kind of behind one of the concepts that I had did. And when I did the concept, I had got really good feedback from this person. And then like they did a photo shoot, and I was like, wow. And my sister was like, look, isn't that not what you blah blah blah? And so she was just like, even though you may not be like a big name, you may not be like a superstar, you may not be like all
Yeah.
over social media and all the world. She said there are people who watch you who
Yeah.
Yeah.
really admire your ability to do things. And if you just watch, you will see things happening, even like with my sister, like even like with her business and like pushing her business. There are concepts that she like send me, and I'm just like, oh yeah, that's dope. That's dope. We're gonna do this and this. And like I'll see again, there's another stylist that I absolutely love. Like I follow him all the time because I love his ability to transform clothes into life. And there's a lot of things that we talk about that she tell me about that I'll look and like, yo, he's like, he has his models or he's like doing the same concept that she's thinking about. And she like, dang, that's what I'm like, yo, so you have the mind, you have the ability to create the
Yeah.
concepts. And if you look at it, and I think sometimes that's God's way of reminding us that you are important. Like you can
Yeah.
do this because
Yeah.
we'll sit and we'll write down things and it's like, no, maybe that's not good enough. But then we'll see someone with a big name or someone with a big social media platform, and here it is, they are literally doing the same concept that I wrote down in my diary. And it's not
Right.
because I shared that concept with them, but sometimes I think that's just God and the universe way of saying like, you thought it was a good concept, you can really do it, I just need you to take it and put it to work. Because there are
Right.
people with the same concept that have a bigger platform that you have, and yeah, they can see it, but you got to start from somewhere.
And
Because
I'll
people
even go ahead.
go ahead, I'm done.
No, but I'll even comment on that because a lot of times I think we stop when we see that somebody has implemented something that we had thought about.
Yeah.
And we'll be like, oh, well, we can't do it like they're a big name. But, and not everybody's going to be able to work with this person that you're following.
Right.
Right.
But in that community and in that atmosphere where Melvana is, she will be able to work with those people, and they still need that same sense of security, that same sense of confidence, and all of that stuff. So a lot of times I think we stop when we see somebody else doing it. But listen, don't stop. Keep doing
Mhm.
it because somebody What you
I
got?
just had an epiphany. Go
I'm,
ahead.
hey, you looking like you just had an Oprah aha moment. You start.
No,
Right.
and I'm
Come
gonna
on
tell
with
you
it.
what it was.
Come
For
on.
for me, this is a full circle moment because what you just described is exactly what happens in Genesis 26 and 2. And 22, when Isaac digs another well. The people who are on may not know, but I formerly pastored a church called Rehoboth. And most of the story surrounding the name is about continuing in the process that your life is taking, or the purpose that God has you in. Like, how intimidating is it to be a creative? There's so
Mm,
many things out there. There are so many options available. So it's intimidating at times to be a creative. But then even more intimidated when you feel like you have this mindset, or you have these gifts or talents, but you see other people who may express them differently. But the good thing about it is knowing that there's a space for you, there's an audience for you, there's
yep.
a moment for you. And those are things that I'm reminding myself of daily, like in this season. Like, okay, this didn't work, but just because this didn't work doesn't mean that this piece will not work. So
Right.
being adaptable, being adjustable, to be able to find your space, your moment. And it is a space that you don't necessarily have to fight for. It will fight its way around you.
Right.
Mm, yeah. Yeah. That's
So that
good.
was my Oprah moment.
But it's so true, I mean, it's everything that we're talking about. I mean, it's so many people dealing with it, and so many people mulling it over, and so many people still sitting, waiting for maybe a new idea to come. But you don't have to have a new idea. Work with the one that God already gave you,
Mhm, mhm.
and work it in your way. Because I mean, y'all both are stylish people, and I mean, I'd be like, how Vaughn put them colors together and make them look right? I could have sworn I tried to put these two colors together, they just didn't go. But something about the way Vaughn got it on and wearing it, maybe
Right.
it's
It
the
is
pen that
something.
brought it together.
Right.
It's from another aspect. And I wasn't going to play this video, but Alan, if you have it available, can you pop in Eric's video? Because again, I know I try not to play it every show, but it has so much meaning, and I think it even will be fitting in here. So, Alan, if you have it, just send me a text when you're ready to play it. I know he stays on ready, but sometimes I don't tell him the right things to have ready.
Yeah. But
But
one of the other things that I'm grateful for about this connection is that I think we do a good job of reminding each other that in those moments of waiting, stop comparing yourself.
mm,
Stop competing. Like, I have, text messages in my phone where both of you are like, who are you comparing yourself to? Why are you like, cut it out? You are where you're supposed to be. And we need those reminders, because when we play the dangerous game of comparing and competing, it causes us to lose self-worth, self-value, right? But when you have those people in your life to say, listen, even if you don't accomplish anything else, we love you right here. But don't let your comparison or your competition with somebody else drive you into something that's not your purpose.
right, right.
Right.
And don't forget the value that's already there. I know you're looking and going for better, but don't forget who you are. Don't forget all the accomplishments you've already come through. Don't forget
Yeah.
all the
Yeah.
battles you've already won. Don't forget all the influence you already have. It's important. So keep building on that, you
Yeah.
know. Chobani, you have something to say before?
Well, and I just think that when you talk about that and like comparing yourself, I think that it's just important that we understand that life is really a journey. It's not a destination,
Yeah.
and that
Right.
we are not.
Absolutely.
I mean, ultimately, the destination. We all meet death, and we go heaven or hell. However you believe. If you believe, most people these days believe there's only a heaven.
No
You do what you
hell.
want to do, and you die and go to heaven.
Okay.
Everybody go to heaven, but that's another show topic.
That's
But
another show. That's a Sunday school
But
show.
but yeah, but anyway, but it's we have to understand that in life it is a journey. And the thing about a journey is that when you go on a journey, sometimes you are detoured. Sometimes there are, potholes in the road that cause you to have mechanical issues with your car. So, oh, I got to pull over, I got a flat tire. But the thing is, the good thing about a journey is you never stop.
Right.
And
Right.
so even though I got a flat tire, you know what? Let me pull this spare tire. Let me patch it up until I can get to where I can get a permanent tire. And I think that that's where those support individuals come. You hit those like breaking points, or you hit those stopping points in your journey. And there's that
Mm-hmm.
you hit that pit stop, and at that pit stop is somebody to say, here's a cup of water. All right, now drink this water, take a deep breath, you know, readjust. Let's think about this. You got, and then you look back where you come from. Look at the people you left behind.
Right.
Look at the
Right.
people who started this journey with you,
With you. Yeah.
and that the journey was to go from A, B, C, D, E. Here it is, you are at E, and you have people that haven't even been able to overcome A to make it to B.
Yeah.
But yet, you find that you're defeated, and that's why I say, we have to understand that everybody's journey is different. And even though we may be on the same road, there's multiple lanes. We're all in our own lane. And like you say, sometimes there's there's a traffic jam, something holds you up, but you are still the master of your lane. You're still the driver of your lane, and you have to determine how you're going to navigate through traffic. Do you just pull on the side of the road and sit there and wait for the traffic to go, or do you stay in traffic and you gradually maneuver, even if it's only 2 miles an hour? I'm going to keep going. I may not be
Right.
going as fast as I want to go, but I'm going to keep going. I'm just going to keep going because eventually I'm going to get there. And
Right.
Right.
when you get there, it's just like getting to when you're on a journey and you're going to a place. When you get there, there's just so much excitement. You reset because
Mm-hmm.
now the environment is different. I
Right.
got this to do, I got that to do, I want to do this, I want to do that. And it changes your mindset to like, all right, now that I'm here, let's do it. Let's do it before it's time to go to the next place. So, I just think that, when Jeffrey was saying, like comparing yourself to people, and I think we just have to think about that, everybody's journey is different. And like sometimes
Right.
Jeffrey would be like, I'm 40 and I'm blah, 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 blah. Jeff, I'm like, you might be, but then I'm like, but look at people who are, I'm like, but look at people who
Oh
are the
God.
same age that you are. You brought it up. So because you brought it up, you opened the door. I'm going to talk on it.
Oh
And so when
God.
you look at people who are the same age that you are, even people who are older than you, look at people who are older than you who look to you for advice, who call you and say, hey, yo, I need help with so and so and so. So I'm like, sometimes you got to stop and think about, the people who depend on you. There are people who are way older than you who still depend on you. They're like, yo, this is my big brother. No, you older than me. I'm your little brother. But in the sense of motivation, in the sense of pushing
Right.
me to be better, you are my big brother because your mentality is far greater than mine. So I need to pull
Exactly.
from you to like uplift me. So yeah, you are my big brother. I know I'm older than you and blah blah blah, but you are my big brother because I need you to push me to that next level. So
Yes.
all right, now
Well,
this
now
is
that my now that my business is on the table,
I knew this was gonna
and
happen.
your business. You put your business on the table. You was the one to say I have extra
now that
gym
my business is on the
where
table, you tell y'all would like to know.
you put your own business on the table. We just talking.
Listen, I just can't believe it started at the end of the show. I thought it was gonna be like this the whole time. So listen,
We did good today. We were on our best behavior.
y'all did good. And
We
Rick
did
is
The
over
good.
there
Lord
talking
working.
about Rick is on here and Candace is on here, your baby mama. So she said that's
Hey, baby
good. I don't
mama.
remember what we was talking about, but she said that's good. But I think we're gonna just exit the video because I don't really think, I think just the conversation we've already had, speaks to a lot of things. And, again, like you're saying, it's that journey, goes back to that flower. Okay, in one season is gonna, flourish here, but at some point in time, it's gonna need to get away from the heat to keep living. So
Right.
that's how life is. We got to keep moving. I think we stop because we over here by the heat and we drying up and we drooping and things ain't looking right and we just think that's it, but that's
Mhm.
not
Put
it.
a
Just
little water on it.
reposition yourself, move somewhere else where you can get more nurturing and more water, right? More.
Well, I do want to report that my plant is doing exceptionally well.
Listen,
Listen, can you post the picture of your plant
I
when we
will
get off
post
here?
a picture of my plant.
listen,
It
y'all
is
talk
doing
about plants.
exceptionally
My
well.
plant was, I think that was what's happened to mine. My little peace lily was starting to wither away. And I started talking to her, and she wasn't living. And I was like, Lord, I must not have no strength in my voice or something because she was dying. And I had to move. And you know what? I had to move her from by the window. I thought maybe the window was the best place
Yeah,
for her because there was so much sunlight. But then I realized that that
yeah,
window, there's also a radiator close to the window, and that's probably what was causing her to wilt away. So I had to move her away from the window, and now she done sprung forth.
She's like, "Hey, Ramon, what's
Yeah,
up?"
I have to get up and talk to her, and had to play a little music. Restore me, Lord.
And see, it's the same thing with our lives. Sometimes we got to
motivate her
move.
for the day.
Sometimes we got to play some music. Sometimes we got to get in a good self help book. So I
Yeah,
tell people all the time, you can have Jesus and a therapist. I know I
yeah.
got some
Listen, I know
um,
that's right.
coaches. Mental health. We're gonna talk about that. We're gonna come back real soon. This
Yeah,
same
that's a
group,
whole nother topic.
and
Yeah.
we're gonna talk about that because we unfortunately we have to go today. But I want to give you opportunity real quick, just to give some last words of encouragement to somebody that might be listening today, or just a word of wisdom, whatever the Lord lays on your heart. So, Vaughn, you got 1 minute. Jeffrey, 1 minute, and then we're gonna end up.
Here's my hand, take my hand. If you don't know the Lord as Savior, Jesus as your personal Savior, I'm extending this opportunity to you to. No, I'm just playing. But on the real, but really, really, if you need that, He's there. We're
Right.
here. And I think I speak on behalf of myself, Jeffrey. And I don't always try to be so super spiritual, but at the end of the day, spirituality is sometimes a lot of times the foundation for a lot of
Oh
people.
yeah.
And I think sometimes we have to get into a place as individuals that we let people know it's okay to be spiritual, but it's also okay to be human.
Mm.
That, even as a human, we're going to have flaws. We're not going to get it right. We're not going to always get it right. But yet, at the end of the day, we believe in a God who's all seeing, who's all knowing, and who has granted us grace and mercy so that we can live better and productive lives. And
Right.
so I think like my major takeaway, even just from this whole session, is that surround yourself with people that are going to support you, people that are going to push your dream, people that are going to push your vision, people that even
Right.
if they don't know what your vision is, and you say, hey, I have a vision, they get behind you and they push you because they believe in you. And they believe that if you have a vision, I believe that you can execute it. So I don't know the details of your vision, but I know the details of you. And I know that you are a go-getter, and I know that when God places something in your heart, that you're going to go after it. So just surround, even if it's not family, you can't always depend on family to support your vision and support your dreams and to push those things. Sometimes you have to leave family behind because, like I said, sometimes friends and support people can speak to you in a way that your family can't speak to you. So just be more concerned about developing a strong support system and not just a family system.
Mm.
Right.
Right.
Absolutely, I agree. And Jeffrey.
I'm sorry, I was receiving my moment of encouragement.
Oh yeah.
But and it probably won't take me the entire 60 seconds, but my encouragement is just being okay with the journey. Just
Mhm.
understanding that you are exactly where God wants you in this moment, in this place. And you may not like it.
What's
Oh
it?
wow, trust the journey.
Oh
Yeah.
wow.
And that is my word of encouragement. That's for me and anybody else listening, that um
Mm.
it's one thing to have faith in God, but it's another thing to have faith in God. Just understanding that He can see much farther than we can, and knows what's around the corner. And if you can just get through this moment, through this season, that I believe that life gets better every day. I think this has been one of the toughest seasons of my life because there's so much growth required. And growth can be uncomfortable. You change your wardrobe because the sleeves are too short and you look silly walking around in short sleeves and short. And I'm learning that it is okay to be right where I am, to feel what I'm feeling, because the coming days are gonna get better.
Amen.
Better days are coming.
All right, we had a fun.
Yes. Who got the choir taking us out? If our hearts
Hey,
and minds are clear. Your hearts and minds better not be clear. It better be full of all this goodness we done shared today. So listen, y'all click like and share on this video because there's somebody else who's going through something, and I'm sure something we shared today may help them along the way. The thing about it is, this might even somebody's gonna listen to this 2 years from now and still be blessed because it's just on purpose and for purpose. And so we definitely got to get out of here. But y'all know, making connections with Aly. We're here every Monday at 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and every Saturday at 12 noon. We got some good stuff, good shows coming up. So make sure you stay tuned. We're trying to do a little live concert December 31st, our last show of the year. So stay tuned for all the greatness that we have coming up. And so again, we're on Facebook, IG. This will also be displayed on YouTube. So share the video. And Alan, can you show my banners real quick? If you need to reach out to me, you can send email at info@aliciajohnson.com, or just message me on the Facebook page, Making Connections with Aly. If you want to be on the show, you go to calendly.com/. Jeffrey, mute your,
I'm
mute your.
sorry. I'm sorry.
Calendly.com/, Making Connections TV. So anyway, I love y'all. Thank y'all so much for
love
coming
you.
on. I
Love
appreciate
Thank you for
you.
you.
having us.
Thank you
Yeah.
so much.
And so, we've been talking. We want to do this more often. Men's health,
Let's
mental
do it.
health, all those different things. So let's continue having those conversations. And Ramon was actually instrumental in helping us come up with our name, Making Connections. So he's good at stuff like that. So I got to get out of here, but we love you. We hope that you all have a very happy Thanksgiving, whatever it looks like for you. We're going to do a Thanksgiving special episode. So it'll be on Thursday night at 7. Tune in
Excellent.
because, your Thanksgiving might be a ham sandwich, and that's okay. It's just part of the journey. So
Right.
be encouraged. And until next time, as always, we're leaving you with love, positivity, and good vibes. Have a great day, everybody. Love
Bye.
y'all.
I love you.